I came back from this grueling 2-week stint in Sweden. Yeah, under a fake name, hashing out deals with diplomats and trade folks. And all I could think about was pulling up to my ridgetop retreat in Wyoming. That crisp autumn air hitting my face through the truck window. Smelling like fresh sage and cool stone. Feeling like the world's weight just lifted off my shoulders. But as I crested that last bend in the gravel drive, I carved out myself years ago. My heart sank like a rock in a river. Where my $4 million cabin stood, solid as the Rockies themselves, there was nothing but a smoking heap of splintered timber, crushed rock, and mangled rebar, like some giant had stomped it flat. And the kicker? It wasn't a freak accident or a wildfire. It was the Pine Ridge HOA down the valley, those self-appointed kings of suburbia, who'd bulldozed it all because I supposedly skipped out on their bogus fines. But here's the truth that burned in my gut. My land was never theirs to touch, never signed their petty covenants, and they'd just desecrated the hearth where I'd laid my late wife Elena's ashes, turning our sanctuary into dust. Man, that moment froze me. Engine idling, boots crunching on the gravel as I stepped out. The diesel stink mixing with charred wood. My mind racing but my hands steady because I'm not the type to explode. I'm a builder, an engineer by trade, and yeah, quietly the governor of this state. But right then I was just Harlan Reed, a widower staring at the ruins of his life. Ellen and I had dreamed up that place together, her sketching the layout on napkins over coffee, me calculating every beam for those brutal winters. And after cancer took her too soon, finishing it was my way of keeping her close, that massive fieldstone fireplace her final spot, warm and eternal. But Carla Hargrove, the HOA queen bee with her clipboard and her power trips, she'd seen my independence spread as a thorn in her tidy little empire. Probably jealous of how it overlooked her cookie-cutter cul-de-sacs without bending to her rules, so she faked some papers claiming I owed thousands for violations like my wind-resistant roof or that flagpole I'd permitted through the county ages ago. Pure spite, born from her need to control everything, turning neighborly oversight into a personal vendetta against anyone who didn't bow. I didn't rage or call the cops right away. No, that'd be sloppy. Instead, I dove into the facts, pulling up my solar-powered security cams on my phone, watching the footage play out like a bad dream. A crew rolling in with an excavator, laughing over thermoses of coffee, the boss waving a clipboard yelling, "Got the county order right here, abandoned hazard, HOA says tear it down." While the claw ripped through the bay window where Elena used to watch the elk graze, then smashing the roof, and finally toppling that fireplace into rubble, scattering what was left of her in the dirt. It hit me like a gut punch, but anger without proof is just noise. So I headed to the county clerk's office in town, chatting with old Martha behind the counter, pulling plats and deeds that showed black and white. My 25-acre parcel was carved out 2 years before their HOA even formed. No annexation, no jurisdiction, just Carla's delusion of expanding her fiefdom because she couldn't stand an outlier thriving on his own terms. From there, it snowballed. I dug through my storage locker for the originals. Building permits, septic approvals, even the fire marshal's stamp on that roof she hated, and pieced together her scheme, how she'd started with snippy letters in my roadside mailbox, escalating when I ignored them, forging a county enforcement order on her home laptop to scare the demo guys into action. I roped in my buddy Frank, a retired planner who'd mapped half the state, and he shook his head over pancakes at the diner, saying, "Harlan, this is cut and dry. Your land's sovereign. She'd need your signature notarized and filed to touch it, which she never got because you never gave it." Then Alex Kim, my old army pal turned structural whiz, flew a drone over the site, pointing out the cracks in the slope. They didn't just wreck your place. They destabilized the whole ridge, putting those HOA homes below at risk of a mudslide come spring thaw. His report a damning stack of data on how her rush for compliance endangered the very folks she lorded over. But I wasn't done gathering ammo. No, the real spark came at their monthly HOA huddle in that bland clubhouse smelling like cheap coffee and resentment, where Carla sat at the head table like a queen, her gray bob perfect, tapping her pen to order as they bickered over mailbox colors and trash bin rules. She couldn't resist bragging, voice dripping with that fake humility. "Great news, everyone. We finally cleared that blight up the hill. The owner's been dodging dues for years, total eyesore threatening our values." And the front row sycophants clapped politely while I sat in the back, feeling the bile rise. That's when I stood, slow and deliberate, the chair scraping just enough to turn heads, and walked forward saying calm as a still pond, "Name's Harlan Reed. And that blight was my home. You had no right, no papers, no nothing. The room gasped, Carla's face twisting from smug to snarly as she snapped, "Preposterous! You're annexed, ignored notices. We had the county's blessing." But I just pulled out my phone, snapped pics of her forged docs pinned to the board, the seal off, font funky, and hit record, asking coolly, "For the record, ma'am, state your name and role?" Her eyes widened, panic flashing as she realized she'd messed with someone who wouldn't flinch. That lit the fuse. Word spread like gossip at a barbecue, and by the emergency meeting she called to set the record straight, news vans were parked outside after my anonymous tip with Alex's drone shots showing the looming landslide threat. The place was jammed, tension thick as fog, Carla at the podium sputtering, "We must unite against rule breakers who think they're above us all." When I strode to the front, folder in hand, projector ready, and laid it bare, slides of the plats proving my independence, the title clear of any lions, side-by-side fakes versus real county letters, metadata tracing straight to her computer, my cam footage of the crew joking as they demolished. Carla said it's hers to handle, and Alex's report on the danger she'd unleashed. Murmurs turned to outrage, one bored gal, Lisa Vargas, going pale and muttering, "I questioned the papers, but you said it was fine." The clincher? I paused, let the silence build, then dropped it. "Oh, and when I'm not up here, I live in the capital. I'm the governor of Wyoming." Jaws hit the floor, Carla frozen like a deer in headlights, Lisa bolting up yelling, "I resign now!" As Carla slunk out a side door, her empire cracking, the courtroom was no Hollywood drama, just cold facts and binders, my lawyer Maria ticking through exhibits. Deeds, forgeries, videos, reports. The $4.8 million tally for my loss, plus rebuild and fix the slope costs. The judge peered over her glasses at Carla, now shrunken and avoiding my gaze. Her fancy suit lawyer fumbling excuses like, "She meant well for the community." But the gavel came down hard. HOA liable, restitution ordered, public apology mandated, and as the bailiff cuffed Carla for felony forgery and destruction, whispering charges in her ear, I felt not glee, but a quiet click of justice slotting into place. Her motives? Pure ego. She'd built her identity on HOA control, resenting my freedom as a slap to her authority, manipulating docs to absorb what she couldn't have, but it backfired spectacularly. Her arrest the cherry on top as she lost her house to bills, serving time that stripped her bare. A year on, standing on the deck of the rebuilt cabin, stronger foundation, reinforced everything, Elena's ashes safe in a vaulted hearth with a plaque reading, "Elena's Haven, built in love, rebuilt in strength." Watching my grandkids chase fireflies where the tracks once scarred the earth, peace settled deep. Down in Pine Ridge, the fallout shook them awake. Dues skyrocketed for the judgment. Lisa led a charge to dissolve the whole HOA with petitions and facts, turning the clubhouse into a shared garden shed, neighbors finally chatting over fences instead of spying. Carla's downfall wasn't my revenge. It was karma for her overreach. But here's the twist that still nags. Was I too harsh, using my governor pull to crush her? Or was it fair play in a world where power corrupts the small-minded? Could a simple talk have stopped it? Or did her jealousy make war inevitable? Folks, drop a comment. What would you do if some HOA bully wrecked your world? Share your stories, your takes on justice versus mercy, because these neighborhood feuds, they're everywhere, and maybe chatting them out saves the next demolition. Hit like if this hit home, subscribe for more real-life reckonings. Let's keep the conversation going.